Welcome back, everyone, to Neyyah. We are in the Galorfiak Mines. We have made our return. We've explored pretty much all of the surrounding um, zones that we can. It's time to return here to the Lab HQ with our spare key and see what's inside. Today's going to be another quite lore-heavy episode, I am warning you, because there's a lot to read in the lab. Um, In fact, there might be so much that I need to break it up into multiple parts. I don't need to. I could make one long 10-hour video. I just don't like doing that for this type of content because it gets rather rambly. And when a person like me says that I'm rambling too long, you know that it's rambling too long. Alright, we're back here where we first met Mason. Now over to the right is where the hangar is. We could go back there if we wanted to, but we've actually done everything there is to do in that hangar. We're more interested in this area here. In fact, let's look below us to this little hatch. We tried going in there once, I believe, several videos ago, but it's locked, and we can put something here, and that thing is in fact the spare key. So we can head down to the lower level. And I see this sign talking about lethal aortic gas is used in the chamber below, mask required, just like the area in Ludwig Tower. So we've got to put the mask on. We do it when we're prompted here to put the mask on. And we're allowed down. And we've got an interesting looking machine here. So this is a sheet of some kind. In a panel. I think there's a sheet. I don't think it's open air here. And underneath the sheet, I think, is the gas. You can sort of see it wisping around and some orange, red-orange light here. It makes me think it's like a hot piece of metal, but I don't think that's what's going on here. It could be. It makes me think of a hot stove. That's what it makes me think of. And then we've got these devices here. They don't have the symbols on them. In Ludwig Tower, we saw these speaker-looking devices. One of them had a lantern-ish symbol on it, and the other one had the Ludwig Tower symbol, I believe. But this one doesn't have any symbols on it. Over here, we have a blank screen. That's not very useful. And here's a machine that wants a Paida. And it's specifically asking for an inventory item and not something from our Paida case, which is curious. We know that the Paida case won't be useful anyway, because these are red, blue, and green Paidas. This is asking for something orange. We've read a little bit about an orange Paida, the Kula Paida, in Vermeer's secret office. And we've seen this symbol, this razor blade looking symbol right here. But we don't know yet, or at least there's not 100% certainty what this symbol is at this point. So we can't do anything down here at all, yet. We will eventually come back. And then, basically the game automatically removes the mask as soon as you move away from the spot where you normally put on the mask. It just does it. You don't have to do it yourself. Kind of wish the mask would automatically go on. There's, in fact, quite a lot of inventory item usage that I, as a lazy person, would prefer is applied automatically. Not the keys. You should have to figure out which key goes where. Like here, this is also going to take the spare key. But the use of the mask, I kind of feel like that should be automatic. You just need it to progress rather than needing to pull it out every time. I don't know if it would be a good design decision to do that. It's just I would prefer it because I'm lazy and it would be 2 less clicks for me. Alright, let's head on up. We're going to enter the lab proper. And we have a chair, looks like a swivel chair, and a lot of computer screens. So I'm going to start by sitting in the chair and turning to my right here. Ooh, there's that code again, 4231. That was the code to activate the Pelska portals. There's something funny about this drawing here, we're not sure. We got 4 people, so I think, oh, is this the 4 rulers doing something? We got some kind of ceiling, like a cave ceiling, and then a mountain here, and a structure with the tower here that looks like it has an eye in it, which makes me think this is supposed to be Oluj. So my guess on this, there's some things I definitely guess about because the game doesn't give you a 100% clear answer, and if there is a 100% clear answer, I haven't done enough research to know. So my guess looking at this actually isn't the four rulers of Fazalta, this is Oluj, and it's the thing to open the Laflomian portal. So this is a representation of what they're going for, their victory to open this, because Oluj is a floating island. Maybe that's what we're talking about here. The tower with the eyeball on it was the drawing of Oluj we saw in Vimir's secret office. So that's my guess here. If this was supposed to be Fazaltan, I think these guys would be different colors. You'd have red, blue, yellow, and green instead of just blue. So maybe that's what this is. This drawing I really can't make out at all. It's very cool, but I do not know what it represents. I'm going to turn this way and check out this first computer. Now, this computer is just a series of videos. We have 3 video messages from Vimir's boyfriend. No, Sender Smolex Mehmet from Oluj in the camera room, wherever that is. We're just going to watch these, and we'll talk about what they are after all 3 of them. So sit back, grab your popcorn and your Diet Coke, brought to you from the refreshment office, and let's watch Smolex Mehmet.
Vamir! My old friend. I hope I'm not disturbing you. I assume you're down there on Nyaska Site 28? Working hard, I hope. Looking at recent deliveries from other Nyaska sites, I'd say some serious competition is coming your way. Also, just a reminder, if I don't see progress on the dome's construction, I will hold you personally responsible. Maybe it will put the half-baked brains of my men at ease, knowing the curse has been lifted. Their foolish falsehoods of whispered voices can finally be extinguished. Now, while I admire your search for alternative power sources besides the Paeta, I feel you are getting too close to that Validian. Go now, my dear Vamir. I await your report on the Philitsu routes. The Nyaska spore. Beautiful, powerful, potent. Wouldn't you agree, my dear Vamir? We must conserve the Galithium, and yet we must up the dosage for the well-being of the people. Perhaps the Nyaska plants are getting zapped by Zypherfish, or maybe the spores are releasing too early. You should double-check the heaters. Or maybe the spores are randomly getting weaker, their power withering, their potency waning, for no reason at all. Nyaska Site 28 is losing its power, Vamir. It must be, because the Ologerians are forsaking the spores. If you can't find a way to increase the potency, I will sink your beloved Neyyah beneath the waves. Check the tank for Zypherfish and eradicate them. We can't afford interruptions. Not if we are to finally be reunited with him. It finally happened. Didn't I say it'd be unwise to keep that wretched portal standing? The debris doesn't concern me. It could have affected the spore farming systems. We were lucky. This time, my workers speak of whispers and believe the site is cursed. What happens when they refuse to maintain the Banoxi eye portals? Who will step in then? You! Myself. My focus lies here in the temple, at the Laflomian portal. As should yours. The Yopalesh was but a means to an end. That technology faded away years ago. It's true, the Yopalesh did serve us well for a long time, and the Pieta remained in great condition after its transit from the factory to the temple here on Olajay. But now, the Pelorian portal at the old factory, it's in ruins. It's a twisted mess. A corpse, shaped by the greed of its creators, swallowed up by the ocean. Eventually, everything they ever created will fall. Who was it? One of my engineers mentioned to me the last time he was down on site. Oriane. That name sounds familiar. Does it mean anything to you? Volca. He graces me with his presence. His machine breath enters my dreams now, more than ever. We are getting close for me. The time is fast approaching where we will once again sail back through the silver rings and be all with our home. Bragnarian. But we need more power. The Laflomian portal remains stable for now, despite the tremors. We can do this. We have to. Keep me informed about Neyyah Site 28.
Alright. That's Smollex Mehmet, the best character in the game. And I am pretty sure these messages are meant to be chronological from left to right. It doesn't say when they're sent. That's my guess. Because we read left to right, that's why. The messages are all kind of the same basic deal, but there's just little bits of information scattered in those. This one seems to have happened right after the Yopalesh portal in the Pieta factory area broke, crashed, destroyed the minecart system. So he's upset about that. But generally, he is somewhat upset that Neyyah Site 28, which is Neyyah, is becoming less potent, less efficient, producing less energy for him. And it's clear from the way he's talking that he actually suspects something's going on. In this video in particular, he talks about how maybe the spores are randomly losing their power. He knows that's not true. He knows there's something fishy going on here. But he doesn't know what it is, and he apparently doesn't care to come down and check. And his men don't either, because they're talking about some kind of curse. They believe the site is cursed. So Vamir has free reign to do what he wants, but Smollex is definitely threatening and saying, if you don't get back on track, I'm going to shut all of this shit down. And he is definitely motivated by something else. He doesn't care about Neyyah. It's not that he is this evil mustache-twirling villain. I mean, he is, but he's not doing it because he just wants to destroy Neyyah for no reason. He wants to keep the Laflomian portal stable. He wants to do this so that he can return to Bragnari. That's what he's talking about, our home. And Kerhelta Volca is mentioned, and being reunited with him. So there seems to be something about a god. That's what I would guess, especially since the word him was capitalized in subtitles. So the whole purpose of this place, this Olajarian presence on Neyyah, seems to be farming these spores, the Neyyah spores, to power the portal for Smollex, perhaps all of the Olajarians, to return to Bragnarian, which we don't know about quite yet. But that is the backstory that we're being given from this. And we get some wonderful scenery-chewing videos. The actor for Smollex is the one who understood the assignment. I guess I could say it that way. But otherwise, we don't really need the video. So you don't have to remember every word of this for a puzzle. It's just extra lore and character development. And also, you get to see Small Axe now, so that when he shows up at the end of the game, you're not like, who is this clown? You already know who the clown is. It's that guy. Let's take a look through this Banox computer system. So we've got this sort of dragon head curved thing on here. We've seen these around, not so much directly on the computers, but we do see this a lot for Ologerian things. So this must be, of course, a representation of the Banoxi. Yeah, we got another head there. And it seems to be a representation of Olujeg. This isn't a part of Neyyah we've seen, right? We've got, seems to be floating rock here, like a ceiling, because we've seen like a floating island representation, but there's also land underneath, which is very strange. Okay, lots of information here. We're going to just go through one by one. System information. Welcome to the Banox computer system. Powered by servers on your homeland and named after the masters of our bloodline, the Banox computer system will enable you to access various points of information connected to the Neyyah site you are working at on the planet of Feamor, whichever one it's supposed to be. The Banox computer system receives data closely linked to the successful operation of all Neyyah sites. This includes Holtish data, portal status power and activity, a variety of console and machine statuses, and email correspondence with your Lord Smolax Mehmet, plus other connections to the Ronalda Temple. Kerhelta Volka watches down upon you. With machine breath, he thanks you for the harvest of the Neyyah spores, and doing your part to bring our broken world closer to him once again. Alright, so confirmation. Kerhelta Volka is the name of the god, I guess, the him that Smolax Mehmet is obsessed with. He mentioned machine breath, something like that. And so the harvest of the Neyyah spores is, in fact, what we need to do, or what the Ologerians need to do in order to bring the broken world closer to him once again. Whatever that means. Let's see, what was the other bit? Oh yeah, Feamor is a planet. So that's where we are. It's not planet Earth, it's somewhere else that Uluj is not a part of. Let's go back. Let's check out portal activity. After the betrayal of the Fazaltians, their land of Fazalta and the rest of Feamor was left for us to upgrade and change as we saw fit under his eyes guiding us. Not sure how true that is, just saying, that seems like a rewrite of history to me. We came to this planet upon one landmass. Now we have access to various lands through the use of old and new portal systems. While some of the technology belonged to the Fazaltians originally, we strive to make it our own, to make it better. As workers of the Neyyah site, you have access to these wonderful creations. They are your passengers. They are your passengers? They are your passageways across the surface of this planet. Maybe that is a word, I don't know. Select a portal to find out more about them and their special activity in connection with your Neyyah site. And so, yeah, there's like, well, 11 million, if you count this up, different portal types. We're going to go through them all. So this one we've seen before. This is the Banoxi Eye Portal. The Banoxi Eye Portals were created on Oluj and serve as a means to travel between the 5 zones of the arrival sector. They were all once connected as one whole big landmass, making it the biggest area to exist on Neyyah Site 28. However, in order to protect the recent operations conducted at the Felitu Dome, due to rising sea levels and increasing climates, the land was separated and linked together via the use of these Banoxi Eye Portals, named after the creatures whose blood runs through the veins of our masters. We believe Kerhelta Volka watches into our world through these portals. Gaze back into his heart and know you are safe in safe hands upon traversing through these unique portals. Number in operation, including craft portals, 21. Updates weekly. So there's a lot of these. They are only on Felitu Island, the arrival sector. We've only seen them there. They're the ones we walk through. They're all over the place. It's because Felitu Island is the only area of the game that was separated by Olugerians, in particular by Vamir. All the other separations and portals were initially done by the Fazaltans. That's actually not true. I just lied to you. But the separations we've seen, the separations we've gone through when we've gone from the Galorthiak mines to the Neyyah pools and to Penorvia Point, etc., those separations were done by Fazalta. The separations on Felizu Island were done by Vimir, as well as the old guard tower and Velatron temple stuff. That was also done by Vimir, I believe. Velatron temple might have initially been separated by Fazalta, but Vimir has done extra work to protect it. So a little bit of both, but the Banoxi eye portals are only in one area. We've got the Mahili portals, brought to the design board as an idea by Smolex Mehmet and Vimir Dahili, and helped brought to life with the technology available at Banox Systems, Zelyria, South Ulajay. The Mahili portal is still being prototyped across the various Nyashka sites, built horizontally as opposed to all other portals used for Nyashka sites. They operate better when charged by water. A good recommendation would be an old abandoned area of Fazaltian design which can be filled with seawater. They are expensive to manufacture and should be used for specialized operations. Number in operation, classified. Some important details here. They're horizontally as opposed to all other portals. That is not true. I'm not sure why this is written here, because we've seen another portal type that we're going to read in just a minute here, which is also horizontal. There's also the portal we went through from Felizu Island to the Dome Zone via the Banoxi craft. That was through a horizontally arranged portal. That might be a Mahili portal, but I think it's a Banoxi eye portal that's arranged horizontally. There's, I think there's only one connected pair of Mahili portals in the entire game. And anytime there's a classified piece of information here, that means it's something that Vimir has specifically classified. This isn't information that's classified from Olujay. Vimir has marked things as classified that he doesn't want Smolex to know about. So the Mahili portals are one of those. And it's mentioned that they're supposed to be they're operated when charged by water, so an abandoned area which can be filled with seawater. It's mentioned that I'm trying to speak an English sentence, but apparently I can't do that. So this would be the water tank that we saw in the Levandis zone, the water tank which is connected by a pipe to the Felizu Dome, the water tank we're supposed to drain. So behind that door that we could not open several episodes ago must be a Mahili portal. And the reason this Mahili portal is being kept classified and it's hidden in this tank must be that the place it goes to is a place that Vimir does not want Smolex to know about. So the Mahili portal does not go to any of the Nyashka zones we've been to. That means it must be the Velatron Temple or the old guard tower or another area that maybe we haven't read about yet. But that's what this must be. This is another horizontal portal. Ocean portals have been developed by Banox Systems and Smolex Mehmet to aid in the process of Nyashka spore harvesting, a colossal project taking shape on the Nyashka spore pool collection area of Nyashka Site 28 a while before the betrayal commenced. Since then, the ocean portal, along with the powerful Neyyah systems, have evolved in their designs and technological power. Elevator Sector has had a smaller ocean portal installed protecting the Nyashka zone. Number in operation, 4. And I believe when it says the number in operation, a connection of portals counts as 2 portals. So this means there's 2 sets of portals. So one is in the Nyashka pools, we saw that one, and it's the one that was described in the note at the guard shed at the Nyashka pools about how that guy, that xenophobic Fazaltan, was talking about these Olajarians and their ways, building this portal above their Nyashka plant that shouldn't be there. And then the elevator sector, which is Scarlatti Towers, has another ocean portal. We saw that one, and it protects the Nyashka zone, which we haven't been to. Pelorian portals. We've definitely seen these guys. On Nyashka Site 28, the Pelorian portals serve as exit points for the camera sector, elevator sector, lab HQ sector, and arrival sector, otherwise known as Penorvia Point, Scarlatti Towers, where we are now, Galorfiak Mines, and Felizu Island, connecting to the central area of the Nyashka Spore collection pools. While the Pelorian portals still use the original Pelorian flower ingredient in its plasma, the real power of these portals now derives from the Kula crystal pods, creating faster transit to locations. A plasma ring is required for these portals to work. They were built around the same time as the Toledo portals, once the Fazaltians separated the original land using their Volk Tower technology. While this ancient technology still remains a mystery to us, with certain areas of Fazalta still receiving power from these bizarre structures, they have pushed our ideas forward in evolving powerful and efficient teleportation devices of our own. So it's not 100% clear in here, but what I think is going on is these Pelorian portals are not Olugerian in initial design, because they were built around the time of Toledo portals here. And so what happened when the Fazaltians separated the land? So it happened a while ago. It did not happen recently. And these are somewhat unique in their count, because I said in the last one, the count is including the linked portals. So if there's 4 in operation, you would expect 2 sets or 2 pairs of linked portals. But Pelorian portals are not linked to each other. When you walk through a Pelorian portal to the Nyashka pools, you basically come out of a Toledo portal. So there are 4 unique portals. We've seen them all. We can click for further information. That's cute. Components, we got Pelorian flowers. That's what they look like, baby. The plasma ring and the Kula crystal pod. We saw one of these pods up close in the Paida factory. It was just kind of in the floor at an area underneath a lid that was permanently open. We can't further click into here, but we can definitely see the components. That's really all we can see. Spore dump delivery portal. Over time, there have been changes in the methods in which spores from the Nyashka plants have been transported back to Olajay from all the Nyashka sites in Fayamor, or Fayamor. One of those is correct. The Yopalesh on Nyashka Site 28 remained as a prominent feature and useful delivery system for Olajarians. The main purpose was delivering Paidas to specific docks set out across Fayamor, but after the betrayal, spores took priority, and Paidas have been manufactured on Olajarian labs ever since. These Paida storage stations became spore docks, now linked directly to the Nyashka spore collection pool areas of most Nyashka sites. They have all been fitted with a spore pump delivery portal, sending collected spores straight to Olajay. They remain switched off until the new delivery is organized. So these portals are a bit more complex in that there's a history to them. They're not really something used as much. The Olajarians used to use a different method, and they used to directly go for Paidas. So the Yopalesh might have been a spore pump delivery portal, but it really looked like a Pelorian portal. The Yopalesh was used to get Paidas back and forth, because originally Olajarians were manufacturing those on Fayamor and putting them back. But then Olajarian Labs found a way to synthesize them, apparently. So they don't have to do that anymore. Now they're working on Nyashka spores. And so to get the Nyashka spores back to Olajay, they have a special delivery portal just for that. We haven't found it yet, and there's only one of them. And the thing about the spore pump delivery is we're not actually going to use it. It's not going to be used. We're going to see it, but we don't care about it because we don't actually want to help Smolex, because this would be how we'd help him out. We're sending spores to Smolex when we do that. We don't want to do that. So we'll see the portal, but you don't have to worry about a puzzle being solved with that. It's just going to be a thing that exists. And here we have the Toledo portals. The Toledo portals originate from ancient Fazaltian technology and history. There are 4 on the Nyashka Site 28, which connect Arrival Sector, Velitu Island, Camera Sector, Pinorvia Point, Elevator Sector, Scarlady Towers, and Lab HQ Sector, Glorfiek Mines. Red, blue, green, yellow. That is always the order. To the central Nyashka Spore Collection Pools area, these portals were successfully manipulated on Olajay by a man named Kaleidos, who managed to route a Paida portal-based electromagnetic pulse through the lens of a Toledo portal known to Olajarians as a Jetuk, or Jetuke. So, Fazaltian technology, Olajarians have managed to not so much reverse engineer, but have managed to intercept and use on their own with a Jetuk. Problems have occurred, however, with the nearby marine life which populate the current position of the Nyashka heater chamber. Their own natural electromagnetic charges have become an interference with the Jatuk technology, while also becoming a burden on spore collection in general. The heater chamber has since been sealed off. All Toledo portals operate without Jatuk technology in order to sustain stronger portal power, except one portal which can be alternated between two locations, one being the remaining spore docks on Nyashka Site 28. So originally, Ologerians figured out this technology, found a way to intercept it using a Jatuk, but because of those gosh dang Zypherfish, it just doesn't work. So they shut it down, except for one of the portals. It doesn't say which one here, but we'll discover that in like 8 seconds. It's fine. And that portal can actually have its target location switched. And it will lead to the spore docks, which is where we'll find the spore delivery chute. So there's 4 Toledo portals. We've seen those already. Shruyuki portal. While all portals are updated to continue operations, their plasma sources running on very similar components, such as the Pelorian flower, the Shruyuki portals, also known as travel portals, remain mostly unattended due to spore docks being shut down, apart from spore docks 1 on Nyashka Site 28. All Nyashka spores are now sent to the spore docks via chutes connected to Toledo portals containing old Jatuk technology. All Shruyuki portals are in the process of being shut down. While metallic objects don't react very well when passing through Shruyuki portals, Nyashka spores present no defects upon transit. Chute systems have been installed at most Nyashka heater chambers to deliver the spores to connecting Toledo portals with Spore Docks 1 using Shruyuki portals. Updates are currently unavailable while work continues to tweak and fix the plasmic technology for these specific portals. This might be the most important thing to read in the whole portal activity section. And I have to take a moment to step back and sort of praise the world building in this game. Like, there's a lot of lore, and some of it desperately needs an editor, but what's great is in this sort of writing is the concept of a world that exists outside of my interaction with it, right? A lot of stuff, especially with the culture of the Fazaltans, seems to only concern itself with the Paidas and the stuff that I interact with directly, right? Which is fine, but it gives the impression that the culture isn't real. It's just a video game system. Whereas any mention of technology or equipment or activities or rituals that are not directly related to the puzzles or my activity gives the impression that this world is a real place that I've stepped into. And so the fact that we have this entire portal system that was used in the past, but we're going to like phase out in favor of this other thing because the technology is changing around us, makes it really feel like this is an actual work site that's going through updates and those types of things. So like these portals were initially used all over, and then they've mostly been shut down because the Ologerians have a better system they like more. The only Spore Docks that still is in use is here on the Nyashka Site 28. It's Spore Docks 1, which we need to use Jatuk technology to reach, right? So it's giving us hints of how to do this without sounding like it's giving us hints. It sounds like it's just discussing, how things were done in the past. So Nyashka spores go to the spore docks through a portal that looks like this. Well, we've seen a portal that looks like this, for sure, out in the distance in the harbor zone, which is somewhat strange. And there's going to be Shruyuki portals somewhere in the Nyashka Pools site. We've actually seen it. I just haven't pointed it out because I haven't got around to the chute technology yet. But we'll get there. I'll point it out at some point if I remember to do that. So initially you would send spores through here. They'd go to Spore Docks. From there, you would send it off to Olajay. And Olajay wants to shut that down. What that means is that they're not updating these portals. They are not making any changes to this design, which implies that other portals have had updates made to their design over time because they are intended to remain in use. So we have an old portal system, which has a defect. Metallic objects don't react very well when passing through them. Nyashka spores present no defects, which is why it's still used for Spore Docks and Spore Docks only. This is an interesting piece of information, and we know that these portals are not going to be updated. So whatever defects they have are going to still be here now. Remember that, because it is a hint that we need to solve a puzzle in this game that I had no flipping idea what I was doing, because I did not pay attention to this at all. Okay, moving on. Mayorta 2 portals, also known as Mayorta gas portals or tube portals, are fairly powerful devices operated by using a poisonous, toxic gas, poisonous and toxic, wow, called Mayorta, found in caves on the southern mountain ranges of Olujay, where Banoxi dragons still dwell. A Paida is also required to operate them, and the activation can be done remotely to where the portal will open. On Olujay, they are usually built in dangerous areas, offering a means of escape. And they're classified. So this is stuff that Vamir doesn't want Smollax to know about. Now, Smollax knows what they are, because Mayorta 2 portals are specifically an Olugerian invention, not at all related to Fazalta. The toxic gas is Mayorta, which is found in Olujay, not on Fazalta. The toxic gas here is Viafil, used for the creation of Paidas. But the gas mask will protect against both. And these are usually built as means of escape. This ring at the bottom of the portal looks familiar. We've seen this portal tube before. If you think about it for a minute, we saw this at the very beginning of the game, when we first arrived in Neyyah, right in front of the Jalud. So perhaps there is a Mayorta 2 portal right at the start of the game. It's obviously not on. The other bit of information that's useful is that the activation can be done remotely to where the portal will open. Other portals we have to activate from a button that's like right next to them if they require activation. So the Pelorian portals, for instance. But if there is a Mayorta 2 portal at the start of the game, its activation is not going to be done from that location. It's going to be done somewhere else. And this Mayorta stuff using the gas, right? There's 2 areas of the game where we have to wear a mask because of Mayorta gas, both of which seem to require an orange Paida, both of which have this strange device that appears to be concealing some kind of gas, the Mayorta gas. So it seems like we have 2 places designed to activate a Mayorta 2 portal. Either both of them are required to activate one portal, or perhaps there are 2 Mayorta 2 portals, at least. There might be another area with Mayorta gas we haven't found, but there's at least 2 portals that are activated at these Mayorta gas locations. Let's go back and check out the last portal type here. The Jalud portal. While Jalud crafts can depart directly from Olujay and travel to destinations on Neyyah, certain restricted access areas require a portal for Jalud travel, such as the Sky Chamber. That's where we actually started the game. These portals are known as Jalud portals, and each Nyashka site will have a Jalud portal built at a specific location, usually the Lab HQ sector. They require transportation towers to operate, requiring 2 signals. The Jalud portal here is what Mason tried to go through and got himself blowed up. And there's only one. And we can't go through it anymore because the Jalud is gone. And whatever caused Mason to explode going through would probably happen to us. Perhaps Vamir intended for us to do something that would have allowed us to go through the portal safely. But that option was taken away from us when Mason blew himself up. Alright, those are all the portal designs. Yes, it will be on the test. Console data. Nyashka Site 28 depends a lot on our technology and machines to keep running efficiently. That's both true. A lot of these machines have been built in Olujay and installed across various Nyashka sites. Important data systems are set up on the Banox computer system to receive vital information on particular consoles, such as Tron decounts from the whole dish servers, readings from the Falitsu root consoles at the Falitsu Dome, and location settings for the Jatuk portal technology connecting the Nyashka Spore Collection Pool and Spore Docks 1. So let's start with the whole dish data. Now, Some of you watching the series, a few 10,000 or so, probably were frustrated that I actually walked right by all the Holtish servers without even mentioning them. I just wanted to come here first and then go to the servers. I promise that was on purpose, but there are Holtish servers throughout the game. Actually, they're concentrated in one area. Voltage servers were created to read amounts of energy generated at the heater servers. They were originally designed by Lyson M. Holtish. Wow. I wonder if they named it after him. At Oluxus Heating Systems, when the heaters were originally installed within the Ashka heater chamber. Tron decounts are generated at the Holtish consoles through the use of fuses. Inspect each Holtish server linked to the Banox computer system. Once a fuse is charged, Tron readings will be sent from the Holtish servers to this database. So the Tron decounts, we need those at the heater servers. We saw that. So we need to go to the Holtish servers to power them up, first of all, to make the heater servers function. And we'll be given the number to input at the heater servers. And we get that number here, but we don't get it yet because the Holtish servers aren't powered. So there's no data there. None of these have any data. So this is the Tron decount for the Felizu Island symbol. Ugh. My voice will continue to crack until my voice finishes changing. I'm not sure when that'll happen, probably when I'm 60. This is the number for the Penorvia Point. This is the number for Scarlatti Towers. This is the one for Glorific Mines. So red, blue, green, yellow again. The numbers will be plainly given once we activate the Holtish servers, so we'll just come back here once we do that. Felizu root data. Vamir Dahili, head scientist and Olajay and operations manager of Paida Manufacturing Systems, has been developing a new power source for Olajay using natural elements from Feyamore. The Felizu plant grows a root that, when mixed with specific chemicals, can generate a power source. Specific roots and chemical quantities are currently being tested at the Felizu Dome and arrival sector. This source of power could become an alternative to Paidas. Spores that grow in Gafunki mushrooms are also being tested. Select one of the Felizu root pods to view current readings. So again, Olajay is looking for another power source, or at least Vamir is looking for another power source, which Small X might find useful because they're using Paidas, and Paidas are necessary for the entire region of Olajay, or country of Olajay, whatever it is. So there's not as many Paidas for Small X, so they figure if they can use the Felizu plant for power, then it's more Paidas for Small X, is really what the idea is for that. So we can examine, this is the number 1, we remember from our constellation numbers. Felizu Pod 1, successful transmission from the pod. Pod solutions in use, we have front patenol at 60%, seawater at 20, and Selendai at 20. So it's the idea of trying different mixtures. How much power do we get? The Pelakite scale reading is orange. And weak, neutral, strong. Neutral spelled... I've never seen it spelled this way. And I don't mean that as a joke of it's misspelled. I mean, even misspelled, I've never seen neutral spelled this way. I don't know what's happening here. Strong. So it's a very strong reading. So this is a successful mixture. Front petenol, seawater, Selendai at this amount gives you a good amount of power. Pelakite is the chemical produced by the Felizu roots, which when harnessed correctly can generate power. A mix of chemicals along with seawater enables the root to produce pelakite. So this is the mix. This one, however, we're attempting to identify the problem. There's an interference with the symbol light. It's pod number 2. So it says check pod 2 for false. And if we remember from the map developments book, which I can look at later, I won't look at it right this minute, it talks about drain the tank. And right next to the words drain the tank was a symbol, which is a constellation number, and that is the constellation number 2. And pod number 2 is giving us an error. So something's going on at pod 2 that's causing the data to be interrupted. And it is probably the same thing that is allowing us to potentially drain the tank. So that's basically your hint as to which pod to look at. You can solve that puzzle. If you call it a puzzle, it's just really find the switch. If you call it a puzzle, because you could just look for it, it's not hard to find. It's just if you're not sure where to look, this is your hint of which pod to start with. That was the best English sentence I've ever said. Totally comprehensible. You're welcome. Pod number 3, we're using Tashabaniol. I pronounced that correctly, obviously. 45%, seawater at 50, Duchemberol at 5, and this has a very weak reading. Green is pretty weak here. So obviously this is not the greatest combination to get Pelakite. And then number 4 as a red, or pinkish red, so it's somewhere in here as far as the reading goes. And it's using clophenol, seawater, and pacalithiol. That's a guess. So yeah, that's just some stuff to see what works the best. We actually don't really need to know because we're not trying to actually produce Pelakite ourselves. The important bit of information here is that Pod 2 has something going on with it, and we're going to want to check it out. And last is the Jatuk portal shift. Jatuk portal technology, also known as Jatuk lens technology, ceased upon Neyyah Site 28 after electromagnetic interference from local marine wildlife, weakening transit power within the plasma of the Talita portals. However, one portal still contains this old Jatuk technology, enabling the portal to shift between 2 locations. This has been set up to enable faster spore delivery, connecting the Neyyah spore pool collection to the Spore Docks 1 site. Alter the Jatuk power from either Camera Sector or Penorvia Point, the blue place, or Spore Docks 1 on this console. So I'm going to select here the Spore Docks. So that means when we go back to Neyyah Pools and try to enter this portal, it will take us to the Spore Docks instead of Penorvia Point. Now, if we use our Pelska portal to do fast travel, it'll still take us to Penorvia Point. So it's possible to have the Jatuk send us to Spore Docks, but use Pelska portals to go to Penorvia Point. Meaning, you could just set this to Spore Docks and leave it here and not have to worry about switching back and forth. However, you would have to find a Pelska portal teleport spot every time you want to go here. So it's a slight annoyance. Or you can just say, we're going to come here every time we want to switch the portals. And if you're going back and forth between these 2 locations a lot, that's really annoying. Just saying it, it was really annoying when I was playing because I didn't know what I was doing. If you happen to know all the answers to the puzzles, it's possible in the most efficient sort of way to only do 1 transfer. So we go to the Spore Docks, do everything we need to do, and then come back. However, on your first playthrough, it's very likely you will need to make at least 2 trips to the Spore Docks, if not 3. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to try to do it so we only do 1 more switch. So I'm going to do everything at the Spore Docks before going here back to Penorvia Point. Anyway, that's everything for this section. Let's take a look at the Neyyah heater chamber status. This is going to be a long video. Locate information regarding current activity for the heaters, plasma shields, Neyyah, Neyyah plant, and Spore Docks delivery chute. There is a live update on any problems being detected at the chamber. So the heaters, we've seen those, of course. The heaters require external power to be activated. Once in operation, stay clear from the collection pool. 4 heaters will disconnect the spores from Neyyah once it's lowered into the pool. Turn off heaters before collecting spores ready for delivery at Spore Docks 1. Doesn't say why they need to be off before you go in, but my guess is it makes everything really hot. So you get yourself all burned. So these heaters need to be on, and then the Neyyah will lower its spores. But the heaters are inactive, and my guess, just from the word heaters, and also from playing the game, is that the heater servers is responsible for powering these up. There's the Neyyah plant, a sacred plant to Olajay, providing our land with medicinal properties to strengthen our community, garments and ornaments to serve in our appreciation and worship of Keheltavolka, and aiding in the crucial development of the Phlomian portal at the Ronalda Temple. Fizaltians assisted in rebuilding our world once they discovered us here in Feamor, and this involved the shared use of the Neyyah plant, only to wage war against us once they decided we were too much of a burden to them. Spores are collected from the plant once lowered by the Neyyah into the heater chambers. Again, a bit of revisionist history, we can suspect. We don't know the full history, but come on, there is no way that this story is true. It's also interesting that this plant is sacred to Olajay when it is native to Fizalta, so that's an interesting thing to say. The current location of the Neyyah plant is somewhere called Point A. It is not at the Neyyah pools. You would think it should be at the Nyashka pools because that's where the spores are collected, but it is not there. It must be moved to that location. And it's not apparent from this drawing, but the Nyashka plant is very large. Like this flower on this plant is larger than a human. Like it's longer than a human is tall. This is a very big plant. I think it is. It may be a human's about the same size as this, but it's very, very big. Let's go back. The shield. This is the exact same text we saw on the device at the Nyashka pools. This is the only part of the Nyashka heater chamber that is currently functioning as it's meant to in order to create spores. The shield is protecting the area from the Zypher fish and from their electromagnetic pulse. Then there's the Neyyah. This is a special device Nyashka Site 28 is now equipped with, a Neyyah Platinum Series model, providing the top quality performance needed to grow and harvest the best Nyashka spores. Operation requires the use of 2 external computer systems to lower it from point A and point B locations. An activation cabinet can provide fuel, which needs to be powered remotely. The Neyyah cradles and lowers the Nyashka into the heater chambers ready for spore harvesting. Inactive, it's at point A. So point A, wherever that is, has the Nyashka plant, which sits in a device called the Neyyah. The Neyyah is lowered when it is time to collect the spores, lowered through a portal, because there's the ocean portal at the Nyashka pools, from point A into point B, the Nyashka pools, at which point it will drop the spores. So we need to not only activate the heaters, we need to find this Neyyah point and lower the Neyyah into the heater chambers. It requires 2 external computer systems. So a lot to do. Very inefficient design. Just saying that. The chute. To enable the delivery of higher spore quantities, a recent chute and portal system has been set up on Nyashka Site 28. Spores can be sent via workers at the Nyashka heater chamber through the entry chute located there. A Shryuki portal is currently in use to transfer the spores to another worker positioned at an exit chute, spelled differently, which is constructed at the Toledo portal leading to Spore Docks 1. The chute will remain inactive until another spore harvest is imminent, operated remotely on Olaj. So we're not going to use it. First of all, they're operated on Olaj. We're not on Olaj. And it's only when the spore harvest is imminent. We don't care about the spore harvest. We're not actually trying to help Smolax. So they're inactive. We saw one of these in the Nyashka heater chambers. We can't use it. There's also one by the portal to Panorvia Point. We'll take a better look at that some other time. We can't use that one either. And then there's going to be one at the Spore Docks that we can't use. Okay. Live update. Attention required. Foreign objects detected in the pool of the Nyashka heater chambers, attempting to identify, unsuccessful. I'm actually not sure what these are. We can't go into the pool of the Nyashka heater chambers to check. And it certainly isn't a Zypher fish because the shield is up. So we don't have to actually worry about this right now. All it is saying that something's wrong. It's not operating correctly at the moment. Let's check our email. Even in the future, we will be plagued by emails. Cletex communications provide you with the ability keep on track with provide you with the ability keep on track with remote provide you with the ability to keep on track with remote connections on Olaj while working on the Nyashka Site 28. You have access to all emails in this section of the Banox computer system. Wakara security systems /updates. The sender is now blocked. Sender from 4 days ago. So this is quite recent. Even though the sender has been blocked, we still have their message. Dear Vamir, I am following up service operations required to be carried out on the 2 VED N80 security doors you have installed on the Nyashka Site 28. We attempted to contact you a year ago, but we did not receive any response. Your last service was conducted by Martin H. Kleshai. Wasn't it Kelshai on the other card? Martin Kleshai. Maybe I misread it because I'm an idiot. On the 10th of May, I guess, of this year. And updates are available. So it's interesting that this was... they attempted to contact a year ago, which would have been 4044, but the last update was actually 3 years ago. If this is the current year, it's been a long time since he updated his security system, and updates are available. I'm also informing you that a few accounts have been hacked lately. I recommend not using WSS card details for passcodes, either online or for the door lock mechanisms. We want to ensure you have the best possible security service we can provide here at Wakara Security Systems, and apologize for any inconvenience this recent attack may have caused. Feel free to arrange a meeting with us at our offices located in the Wakara district, Neyyah Petarn. This is certainly an odd way for a security firm to notify somebody about security breaches, but whatever. Perhaps the Oligerians have a very strange culture where they just sort of passively aggressively remark not to use the default PIN number like this. But yeah, this is actually kind of important to know, is that apparently a lot of people just use the WSS card details for their passcodes, and we saw the WSS card in Vimir's secret office, the numbers of which are in our journey tools. So we can check that anytime. We don't have to go back to the office. So apparently when the doors are installed, it's very common to just leave the passcode as some kind of PIN number on that card. So if we look at the WSS card, we should get a passcode for a WSS security door, provided that Vimir hasn't changed the passcode. Now, if it were me, I would change the passcode. But maybe we can try one of the numbers on that card. Oluxus Heating Systems / Pipes and Heater Servers. 1 month ago, to the attention of Vimir Dahili, this email is in response to our meeting alongside our protector, Smolex Mehmet, in regards to his concerns with the current heater system set up on Nyashka Site 28. After reviewing the current setup you have running, we have decided to begin installation of new pipes which will carry the heater server cables from the heater servers through the Ludwig Tower and into the Nyashka heater chamber. I hope you have received the prototype pipe already. This metal will enable more protection for the cables and withstand hotter temperatures once the system is powered. So basically, the heater servers have the cables, and those are the red, blue, green, and yellow cables coming out of the fuse boxes. Those go to the Ludwig Tower, and we saw the pipes in the Ludwig Tower that had red, blue, green, and yellow cables in them. And then that goes into the heater chamber. We already turned on the machine at the Ludwig Tower, so we just need to turn on the heater servers and then the device at the heater chamber, and we'll be up and running. But this email is another way of notifying the player that those three things are in fact connected to each other. Cletex Communications Center, Spordox. Attention, Vimir Dahili. Hope this email finds you well. Connections between Nyashka Site 28 and Spordox 2 and 3 have now been permanently disconnected. While discussions were had with Smolex Mehmet, our Lord and Protector, regarding the possibility of reopening these docks for storage unit usage, the final decision has been made to cease any further work to renovate. Members of the Ronaldo Temple have made it clear that instant delivery of the spores results in much more sustainable and lucrative production outcomes. We ensure a strong transmission signal continues for the Toledo portal you have assigned to enter Spore Docks 1. So basically they're saying all the Spore Docks except for number 1 are closed. We're not using that system anymore because there's a better system now. We don't use the Spore Docks system. But we're leaving this one open for use. Every other one is being shut down. Just this one is staying open. So that was all very riveting, I'm sure, for email lovers around the world. Only a couple more things on this computer. Let's take a look at the cameras. Nyashka Site 28 is fitted with cameras to offer security to certain important areas of the site. While they were originally used to monitor from remote locations such as the Lab HQ, they are also integrated into activating and locking machinery vital to the operations of Nyashka Site 28. Click on one of the cameras to view its current status. No apostrophe should be there, thank you. So there's crane cameras. We have seen those. The first one we saw, I think, right in the heater servers. That was a camera. That's what that's supposed to be. And we've seen a couple others scattered around. And then the crystal block mech cameras, which we know because the map just straight up tells you that's what they are. And we have no camera signals at all. Except this one. I think this is a bug. I think it's not supposed to have this happen because the cameras haven't been turned on. We actually have no signal. So we shouldn't see anything here. And once the signals are on, you're actually able to click on each camera image and view a zoomed in image. I can't click on this one here. So yeah, I think it's bugged. I don't think it's supposed to be that. but we'll come back once the cameras are on because there is important information to read. Paita information. Paitas power the machinery required to complete the harvesting of the Nyashka spores on every Nyashka site. After being processed on Olajay, they are delivered to all Nyashka sites and stored at their associated HQ. Paitas require weekly maintenance using the PSF reader. Select one of the components below to find out more about their use in Paita activity. Please notify your instructor if any Paitas fail to operate during training sessions. So here's the Paita case. Paitas are stored in a specially designed case, protecting them while keeping them at a cool temperature. The green leather design is very reminiscent of the scales found on Banoxy dragons here on Olajay. Toledo portal symbols are used for the emblem set within the center of the case, representing the 4 sectors of Nyashka Site 28. When you need to use a Paita, find them in this case. And we've already done that. Alright, check mark for that. Paita Activation Holder. A cup-shaped device is built into machinery that requires a Paita to operate. The steel metal of the holder reacts with the energies of the Paita, releasing them through the funnel at the bottom of the holder into the connected apparatus. Insert the associated Paita here, marked by the Paita plaque. There are some Paita holders we can actually see all around Olajay that we can't interact with. Some of them I think already have Paitas in them. Others are just empty and we never interact with them. But the ones we can interact with have the Paita plaque to tell us what to do. And the Paita device. Paitas are the power source for Nyashka sites, developed in red, blue, green, and yellow designs. 3 components make up the symbology of the Paita device. A Toledo portal triangle representing location, we know that. A line of 4 squares representing Paita energy level. That's also connected to the color. Red is the top level, yellow is the bottom. A circle with a line through it, which makes a Paita unique to its given location. That's basically added so you don't use, there's not multiple Paitas that are usable in the same area. Click here to find out more about the Paita's origins. Before the manufacture of Paitas began on Olajay, the Fazaltians discovered the Paitas deep below the ocean and gathered them using a machine called the levitation crane. It existed at the elevator sector of Nyashka Site 28, Scarlety Towers. Back then, this land was known to the Fazaltians as Neyyah. These Paitas were delivered by boat to the old harbor of the arrival sector and then transferred by cart to the Paita factory. A powerful group of Fazaltians known as the Paioltish clan created the energies required to power the Paitas within the factory. And a special note from Vimir. Nyashka Site 28 still retains a lot of its ancient Fazaltian landscape compared to other Nyashka sites, or Philidians, which is the Fazaltian term for Paita harvest farm. Despite the war which broke our alliance apart, I believe it's still important to understand and respect the origins of the powers which enable us to prosper here on this beautiful planet of Fayamor. Good luck in your training. Tour times of the laboratory will be given by your instructor, Vimir Dahili, head scientist. And here's the Paita plaque. Every machine that requires a Paita's power will have a Paita plaque. It's not true. Every machine that we use in the game has a Paita plaque, usually built very close to the Paita activation holder. A lot of Paita plaques have been upgraded, while there are some dating back to a time even before the betrayal, when Olajarian and Fazaltian technology were at balance with one another. 3 components make up the symbology: the triangle, the line of 4 squares, the circle with a line through it. There's also the color, but there is in fact one Paita location that does not have a color. But the color is inferred from the energy level. And last, but certainly not least, the PSF reader. Paita Signal Frequency is an energy reading. All Paitas require a PSF reader check before they are sent to Nyashka sites for operation. Every Nyashka site now has a PSF reader, maintaining the best performance from Paita devices and ensuring the most reliable Nyashka spore harvests. PSF reader version 7400 BT is developed by Grey Mountain Systems. So every Nyashka site has one, so there's got to be a PSF reader somewhere around here we can use. And there is, but we'll find it later. And that's everything on this computer. So tell you what, I'm going to stop here because that was an hour of reading. Well, we also got to watch Small X Mehmet. There's still more to do, so I'm going to put that off to the next video where we will continue with lore. Hope to see you then. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourselves a great day. Goodbye.